Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to Anime King. And I'm back with part 3 of What If Naruto Was the Father of Nature. Remember to get this one too. 100 like as usual. Share this to all of your friends in social media platform. And also, guys, if you haven't seen it yet, I post a brand new series over on Anime King 3 of What If Naruto Was Invincible, guys. I'll be leaving a link down in the description, so go ahead, check it out and enjoy, guys. And don't forget to go ahead and check out the other channels if you're new. Yes, that's correct, I indeed have 3 more channels, which I post What If on every single day for you guys to enjoy. All links will be down in the description, so yeah, without further ado or wasting any more time, how about we begin this now, guys? So, the last part that we left off, Menma was having some dreams. Some dreams that were getting the better of him, as he found himself dreaming about things that he had no idea about, and they were truly confusing to him. The more time that passed, the more the dreams seemed to become more vivid. He had a strange diamond in his hand, a black diamond that he had no idea where it came from, or what was the purpose of said diamond. He made his way downstairs to find Naruto, as a lot had taken place since that event happened over 2 years ago. We then skip to the next day, as Naruto and his sensei were going on a mission. The man that was given the opportunity to teach him was Yamato. He was the only other wood style user that exists. Due to his background in these special areas, they believed that it was for the best. Minato wanted a one-on-one teacher, especially someone that studied these areas. After being taken to Mount Miyaboku, the Toads were concerned that Naruto might solidify into stone, just like a user of nature energy that doesn't know how to properly use it. So there was a big possibility of that. That was one of the many reasons why Minato had Naruto got a solo teacher to focus on him. Menma did not like that, as he was getting a bit jealous. His insecurity and anger had been coming out some time ago, and now they were getting stronger the more time that passed by. As we find Naruto and Yamato on a mission, where Naruto was able to find out that the reason why the bear was terrorizing the town was simple. One of its cubs were taken away. Yamato was able to learn a lot about Naruto. The fact that he could basically communicate with every life around him. And he wasn't just speaking about individuals, animals, plants, the air, everything around him. The boy was truly special, and Yamato was honored to be his sensei. After getting back, they got a mission to help out Team 7 at the Land of Wave. Thus, they made their way there. Upon arriving towards the Land of Wave, Naruto could see the battle scar that had taken place. However, truly stepping into the environment, Naruto felt it. Sadness, guilt, due to his emotional connection that was so strong with everything around him. It was taking its toll on him. As they made their way to the house where they met the others there. As they were able to catch up on what was going on, Menma did not like the fact that Naruto was here to take the shine away, because he was the one that wanted to do this. He was the one that was going to finish this. And that is how he saw it. Thus, they continue on, as Naruto was able to help the people somewhat, but that put a real big strain on Yamato's pocket, Kakashi being able to buy himself out of it rather easily. When the day came though, we find Naruto asleep, and that was after he had met his friend within the forest. Naruto made sure to take care of the thugs as he head towards the bridge. Arriving there, he stopped the match as Sadara, along with Menma, found themselves stuck inside of a crystal dome. Ice to be more precise as Naruto saw closer. The problem was, due to his high sensory ability, Naruto could tell who it was. It was Haku, the person that he met. Naruto tried to reason with Haku. He tried to talk to him. He actually talked him down. However, due to Menma being pulled out by Naruto, he lost it, saying that he deserved better, and for the first time, the mark, that little gem inside of his palm, the diamond, erupted, sending black markings all around his hand. He attacked without reservation. He attacked without morals. Despite Haku being down, he broke the mask and beat the crap out of Haku. Naruto had to stop him from killing Haku. However, Menma turned to fight him as Naruto fought him back, not wanting to hurt Menma. However, the both of their energies seemed to be clashing against one another, which was strange. Sadara was the one that arrived and stopped them from going too far. That is when Haku felt it as he made his way off, running to give up his life. He ended up saving his master. In doing so though, he got a Shidori through the chest that ripped right through him. With Haku dead as Naruto arrived, however, Gato arrived to mock Haku's corpse, which angered Naruto, a friend that he had just made, someone that had so much light in them that was snuffed out. Naruto's rage knew no bound. The heavens started to quake. Lightning and thunder, violent triggers of swirling tornadoes. The ocean started to swirl like it was a storm. The air started to pick up rather violently. This was going to be a bloody massacre. So yeah guys, basically let's left off. You guys can switch across the play, check it out for yourself. And also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the other what ifs on the other channels. I'll leave the link down in the description. So yeah, without further ado or wasting any more time, how about we begin this now guys? We begin this episode with Naruto as he was saying his final goodbyes. A grave rested in front of him. A grave that belonged to Haku, along with a small tombstone with his name carved into it. His final resting place. Behind Naruto was Zabuza Momochi. Zabuza was a ruthless man, a cold-hearted individual that is known for slaughtering his entire class. But somehow, some possible way, due to the affection and care that Naruto felt for someone that he just met, someone that he just became friends with, to the point that it confused Haku when he was alive. Zabuza's heart had been melted as he was on that bridge and saw it. It made him realize that Haku was truly gone, and he was still here. He knew that him and Haku would never end up in the same place. Just like Naruto, he knew that Haku's heart wasn't as dark as his. It was light, pure. All he wanted was a way. And Zabuza fooled himself, telling himself that Haku was nothing but a tool. But now, as they stood there, Naruto saying his final goodbyes, he rose up to his feet. His gaze had not met Zabuza. "What will you do now?" he asks. Zabuza gazed up towards the heavens. "I trained Haku. I made sure that he was prepared. And with his power, it would be what would be the catalyst to help me in an upcoming battle. But now, it seems I'm going to have to do it myself. Because you're right about one thing, kid," he said. "Life is short, and I know that better than everyone else. If you keep on running away from what is chasing you, eventually it's gonna catch you, and you're going to be unprepared. So it's about time that I face it prepared once and for all." Naruto did not know what he was talking about, but he get it that he had to do something. that there was a purpose for him. The only thing he ever wanted was for you to be happy. So if this makes you happy, I'm sure that wherever he is, he's smiling right now. Naruto said. Zabuza heft his massive blade over his shoulder, strapping it to himself. He was always a happy individual, he said. We may perhaps never see each other again, but if we do, I will be testing that power of yours. So don't go and get yourself killed on me, Zabuza said as a final remark. I should be the one saying that to you, said Naruto. As with that, the man left. Observing the two of them was Kakashi Hatake. Despite no longer needed to be enemies, he wanted to make sure that he was there. And he was not the only one. There was also Yamato as well. Naruto started to make his way back, the other two making their way through the trees. Waiting was none other than Menma. Him and Sadara was there. Given the fact that he had a rather powerful healing ability, there was no need for bandages. Sakura was also standing there as well. As Naruto made his way, when Sakura saw him, she remembered what happened not too long ago. Flashback. The Kunoichi gazed up to the heavens as all of a sudden it darkened. She was terrified as a booming thunder ripped through the sky. There was so much lightning. The wind started to howl violently. Trees behind her started to be rooted and twist. The ground started to quake and tremble. The bridge. She heard the support beams grinding. What's happening? She said, as she was confused, not understanding what is this. So much energy coursing through the environment. Meanwhile, having just lost it, as Naruto grew deep attachment to people despite only having a few interactions. It was a part of his caring nature, but just like nature, that can be peaceful, that can be gentle, that can be beautiful, that can be amazing. It can also be ferocious, demonic, horrendous, cataclysmic. The place was being torn apart. It seems like a natural disaster was brewing. Yamato was beyond shock. Was all of this real in Naruto? Kakashi had the same mindset. Menma was floored by this power. Sadara was shocked. It was just like that day, but much, much stronger. Naruto held his hand out, seeming to be no longer in control. His eyes were glowing with pure electricity. His fingers crackled. He held his hand to the heaven, and like some kind of beacon, the heavens opened up, combining to create a powerful lightning storm that descended upon that section of the bridge. Having no choice, many jumped into the water, but that proved to be just as fatal. They were zapped, eviscerated, ripped apart. Naruto seemed to share no sympathy, no care, no compassion for their death. The water was supercharged and electrified. Some possible way Gato seemed to survive, using his own man as leverage, as shields. He ran to the front of the bridge, which was really stupid given where the others were located. Then again, he didn't have a choice. He tried to calm Naruto down. Yamato realizing that this surge was getting more and more stronger, he shouted Naruto's name. Kakashi created lightning around his hand in order to reduce most of the lightning flare up, trying to get closer, trying to subdue Naruto. This power was not under his control. It was not a power that he's ever shown. It was not a power that he could control yet. It was too destructive. The entire bridge would be destroyed. They had to stop him, here and now. However, seeing his opportunity, after hearing what Naruto had to say, no time was wasted as Zabuza swinged his arm. He swung it with emotion because of his injured state. He decapitated Gato. Gato's body was still moving, believing that he was somehow still alive, trying to run away as the head collapsed in front of Naruto, the blood being vaporized before it even touched him. As Naruto looked down towards the headless corpse, and the head that was near to him, his body seemed to understand. It was over. It was done. All Naruto was feeling was power. His mind was swallowed and buried in rage and power. He heard Yamato relinquishing that hold that he had on the environment. He started to calm down as he collapsed down to his knees. But unlike the last time, he did not pass out. But there was steam rising from his arms and legs. Steam even poured from the side of his eyes, going into the heavens, as he simply sat there on his knees. Kakashi got close and placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder, checking on the young boy. Yamato doing the same. As Zabuza collapsed down to one knee, the battle had really taken its toll on him, and he was quite out of it. However, his main gaze was focused towards the corpse of Haku. Those who were lucky enough to survive, those who had the miracle of landing on their own brethrens, found themselves stranded in the water as the current tried to swallow them. Naruto looked down towards his shaking hand. Despite what they did, despite all of this problem, despite everything that Gato did, Naruto's nature was not to be a wicked person, and he just massacred over 100 people. His hands were shaking as he felt like he was about to throw up. Seeing the witness scene in front of him, seeing those bodies piled up, it was affecting him. However, he remembered what his father said when he asked him if he was a monster. Naruto summoned all the strength that he had in order to swallow what he was feeling right now. Despite having so much power to literally destroy, he was still a child. But he swallowed all of that pain that he was feeling. He couldn't afford to be affected right now. He consumed it all and he pushed it down, remembering what his father said as he latched onto those words and the feeling that he got on that day. End of flashback. Thus they had a burial for Haku, which Zabuza attended of course, and now he was gone. As the group was looking towards them, neither of them having any much interaction with Haku themselves. However, Naruto's target was Menma. They were stunned as Naruto punched Menma right across the face, dropping him down to the ground. As Menma himself was surprised, Naruto felt it on the bridge. When facing off against Menma, he knew because whatever it was, it had time to root, to mingle with his system. Naruto wasn't sure exactly what it was, but it felt so familiar. It felt so twisted, it felt so dark. Naruto gripped his arm. As he used his other hand and gripped him by the shirt, the other two trying to stop them. He pulled Menma back to his feet. "What the hell is this? And when the hell were you gonna tell us about it?" he asked. He was angry. Angrier than he's ever been. And this anger was focused on his brother, as he's never truly gotten angry at Menma before, so yes, this was a first for his anger. Menma knew exactly what Naruto was talking about, given their interaction on the bridge. Menma slapped Naruto's hand away as he pushed him off. "Get off me," he said. "It's no big deal. Nothing for you to concern yourself with." "I felt it," said Naruto. "I felt some strange, dark, twisted thing mixed up in that mark. And I can feel that it's been a part of you for a long time now. I have no idea why I'm just feeling it now, Naruto said. He knew that something was wrong. The fact that he could not sense Menma emotions through his actions, like he could do for many other. And he believed that Mark was a culprit. Answer my question. When were you going to tell me? It isn't a big deal and it was nothing for you to concern yourself about, so I wasn't. Have you lost your goddamn mind, Naruto asks. I'm sure that you have no idea what this is, and I'm sure that you felt it as well. I saw that look on your face after the mark receded, and yet you were keeping this to yourself, despite knowing how dangerous something like this could be. Naruto said, stepping forward. He was 100% right. Menma had felt something strange about the mark. However, believing that it would make him stronger, given the missions that he's been on so far has been nothing but a waste of time. This was the first time it truly developed like this. On the other occasions, when he was trying to figure it out, he felt the energy. However, he also felt something strange, and he kept it all to himself. He did. The look on his face was enough to tell Naruto everything. Being rather emotional about everything, upset, fearing that this might do some irreversible damage to Menma, Naruto grabbed him and slammed him against one of the trees. As the others tried to pull them off, with a single gaze alone he stopped them. Strangely enough, even Kakashi and Yamato did not intervene. No, that was odd. As Naruto turned his gaze back to Menma. What the hell is your problem, he said. Ever since that day, you've been acting strange. Time and time again, I've ignored it. Just like our parents is keeping something away from us, and I've ignored it because I believe they have a reason and they will tell us when they're ready. You were the one that was so upset about this to begin with. And I know that you were doing the same, but I did the same thing for you, for your privacy. But enough of this bullshit. You're going to answer my question now. Where the hell did you get that mark? And why? Why were you keeping it to yourself? Naruto didn't know why, but there was this horrible feeling he got when he clashed with Menma. He could not describe it, but it was an unsettling feeling, and it all came from that mark on his palm. Menma was angry by Naruto's words, as he pushed back, causing Naruto to step. I don't have to tell you anything, he said. And don't pretend like you can understand everything about me. I have my reasons why I kept it to myself. I don't know what the hell it is, alright? It appeared one day, and I thought it was no big deal. And it wasn't. This was the first that it was truly opening up to me, and I'm not sure what the hell it is. Naruto grabbed his arm once again. Menma tried to fight him, but Naruto was stronger. He turned it over and he was looking at the mark, when it suddenly started to glow a strange white light. Kakashi and Yamato, wanting to understand what was going on, had let things play out, as Naruto seemed to know something that they did not, and now they had more information than ever before. However, when the light in Menma's hands started to grow brighter and brighter, they realized it was time for them to... All thoughts were cut. A seismic blast that launched everyone away. Sakura was thrown, Sadara was thrown, Kakashi was thrown, Yamato was thrown. The only one that wasn't thrown away was Menma. As for Naruto, he received the worst of them all. Naruto was thrown with such violent, chaotic force. Trees were uprooted. The blast carried Naruto for a far, far distance, to the point that when he landed eventually, he landed in water. Yes, you heard that right. He landed in water. As Naruto lay there in water, floating, not sinking down. He just lay there on top of the water. Menma was looking at his hand with a shock look on his face, unable to believe what the hell just happened. Fear set in as he ran, screaming out Naruto's name. He quickly made his way, Sadara getting up. She ran as well. The other two were able to recover as they took off, Sakura getting up the last, making their way. Menma landed down as he walked. He came to a stop as Naruto slowly started to pull himself up. Naruto's shirt had been vaporized. As he got to his feet, "What the hell was that?" he said. However, something was wrong. Menma was looking at Naruto strangely. His eyes were wide. Kakashi and Yamato froze, unable to believe what they were seeing. Sadara immediately stopped, and the look on her face was horrifying. What's wrong?" said Naruto. "Why are you..." He looked behind him and saw nothing. When Sakura's scream snapped his gaze back towards them. "What's going on?" Naruto looked down, feeling something wrong with his stomach to chest area. And he saw it, as all of them were looking at the gaping hole. Yes, from Naruto's stomach. However, luckily, his heart remained intact. However, several vital organs were eviscerated, wiped away. How he was standing, how he was talking, well, that just should not be possible. And yet... "Oh, I see now," said Naruto. As he fell backwards, he was caught by Kakashi, who brought him back to the land. Kakashi gently rested Naruto down as the others started to make a fuss. "Be quiet," he said. As all of them quieted down, Menma was shaking. What have he done? Kakashi was racking his brain on how to save Naruto, Yamato, knowing medical ninjutsu. However, none of them possess the kind of medical ninjutsu to save Naruto. Liver, kidney, his entire stomach area was gone. He was going to die. As Naruto was fading away, "Stay with us," Kakashi said. Sadara felt her legs. They felt weak. Sakura didn't know what to do. There was nothing that can be done. She knew about the human anatomy. That was one of the things that she studied within class. And at the moment, there was nothing to actually do. With that kind of an injury, it was impossible to save him. Perhaps the world's best medic could, but none of them here possessed the capability to do anything. He was going to die. That was when she saw it. The trees, the plants, the water. A strange green energy started to generate from all of them. She looked around confused until the energy whipped past her. It also whipped past everyone else as well. It came flooding down into Naruto like a tidal wave, forcing the others to step back. Sadara stopped her tears, gazing up as she saw Naruto was lifted into the air. The wound on his stomach regenerating. Organs were being brought back. That shouldn't be possible, but yet they were witnessing it with their eyes, as they couldn't believe it. By the time Naruto was laid back to the ground, every ounce of the green energy vanishing away. His body was back to normal. He was no longer pale. His skin had been refreshed. Kakashi checked everything to make sure. And Naruto was fine. Unconscious, but fine. Is he? Menma stepped forward. Is he? Kakashi looked up. He's going to be alright. Hearing that, Menma ran away. He ran away. Yes, he did. Time skip. The only way to actually bring him back was to forcefully knock him out and drag him back. Shame, guilt, fear. That was all that Menma was feeling at the moment. The others had came to bring him back, to tell him that Naruto had woken up. However, Menma did not want to come back, staying within the forest area, afraid of what he had done, terrified. He believed that it was one of the others when he heard the footstep, but he turned to see Naruto standing there. "It's getting really dark," Naruto said, approaching Menma. Having spoken to the Jonin senseis, he wanted to speak with Menma alone. However, they were not too far behind, given what recently took place. The fear of that happening again, and maybe he wasn't so lucky this time. Well, they weren't going to chance it one bit. Menma averted his gaze. I nearly killed you," he said. "I suppose you did," Naruto said, stepping towards his brother. "But I don't believe that it was actually you. I think that it was that thing on your arm. I don't know how to explain it, but whatever it is, the both of us don't get along with each other one bit. It wants me to die. I don't know why. I can feel the emotions coursing around it, but not from it. Negativity, anger, rage, hatred, all of that combined. All of that is a glimpse of what truly lie under the surface. I can still feel nothing from you. I know you're sad, but I can't feel it." "But I'm fine," said Naruto, "because this is not your fault. Something happened to you. Perhaps on that day as well, when I change. However, all we have to do is to figure out how to fix it." "How can you be so okay with this?" Menma said. "You almost died. Don't you get it? A hole was through your stomach. You almost died. How you're alive should be impossible. You almost died," Menma said. "You were going to be gone. You weren't going to exist anymore. And it's my fault. I kept this to myself. I told no one about it. I knew that something was wrong, but I was jealous. I was angry. I was upset. I was jealous of how strong you had become. What kind of brother am I? Jealous of his own flesh and blood. I was the problem. It's my fault," he said. "And because of my own arrogance, you almost died. What would I have told mom and dad? What would I have told myself? I just don't know anymore," he said. You were jealous?" Naruto said. "Of course I am," said Menma. "I pride myself on getting stronger, so that I'll be able to protect you and everyone around me, and yet, when the situations finally show themselves, I'm able to do nothing. Back when we were almost taken on the bridge with Haku, and you demolishing all of those thugs by yourself, with these abilities that makes no sense. And every single time, what have I been doing? Standing on the sidelines." Naruto started to laugh, confusing Menma, as Naruto dropped to his butt and laughed. Menma got up. "What's so funny?" he said. "You being jealous of me," Naruto said, as he finally calmed himself down. "Do you have any idea how bad you make me look?" Naruto said, looking at him. Menma was confused by that. "You're Menma, the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails. You're holding back a beast that has the power to destroy the village. You go through life with that constant burden, and yet you never let it hold you down. Yes, I have these abilities, but you don't. And yet, you're still able to trade blows with me because of your training, because of who you are. I never desired to truly become a ninja. We can both see that I'm not fitted for it. Time and time again I lost my cool, and when I do, things get really destructive. I don't like to hurt people, but there are some people in this world that deserve to be hurt. And I kept telling myself over and over that I'm not the bad guy, but each time I take a life, I can feel myself strained to a darker path, something that I do not desire. But the reason why I'm a ninja is because of you. You overcome all obstacles in your way. You overcome the burden of being the Jinjuliki, of going out one day and losing control. But you never let that put you down. You always have a focused mind. I'm the one that can't control himself. And I don't have a nine-tailed fox inside of me as an excuse. But you never ever use that. So you being jealous of me makes absolutely no sense. Besides, he said, what's a small bit of jealousy between brothers? It's not going to change anything. We're still family. The closer Naruto got, the more Menma saw. The diamond in his hand started to glow. No, stay back, he said. However, Naruto bested him and grabbed his arm, holding his palm in his. A green aura generator on Naruto's hand as he held on to Menma. As he looked at him without even looking down. We're brothers. We can overcome this. It doesn't matter what it is. The strange power that Naruto was drawing on was able to push back this strange power that was residing inside of Menma. And Menma felt it. He looked up towards Naruto. I'm sorry, he said. As they released each other's hands. And no longer was Naruto being targeted by that power inside of Menma. Come on. There's nothing to apologize about. It's not like you did it on purpose. Besides, Naruto thumped his chest. As you can see, I'm 100% fine. As he smiled at him. Kakashi Hatake observed the scene, almost stepping in when he saw Menma's hand glowing, but it seems that they found a way to reduce whatever that was. Time skip. Remaining at the land. They made sure that the bridge was fully completed. They had to stay there a bit longer, but less time than they would have expected, due to Yamato being here, him possessing the Mokidan. They wanted to name the bridge after Naruto, but Naruto had a better idea. Name it after what he has reignited inside of each of them. The Great Bridge of Hope. Thus, the Hope Bridge was found. A bridge that symbolized that the spirit of one's hope could never truly be destroyed. It is always within you, no matter what. They left the island a hero. None of the members faulted Menma because he had no idea what it was, nor was he responsible. However, they had to get home to figure out what was going on. Time skip. After reuniting with their family and informing them about what happened, let's just say that Kushina did not take this lightly. She claimed that she wanted to simply tie the both of them up and restrain them from the entire world, keeping them safe. One might think that she was serious, or perhaps she wasn't even joking. When Naruto started to laugh at her joke, given the look on her face though. Well, they had to go into special methods to make sure that they can find out what this was. The problem was, they had no idea. They believe it to be a curse mark. The ceiling containment wave was added, and it seemed to suppress the mark completely, now being controlled by Menma's will to ever dive in that power. They were going to believe in him because Menma, finding the courage to finally talk to Naruto. Naruto could actually feel Menma's emotions now. It was all clouded by that mark, but now he could feel it. He could feel what lay within his brother's heart. However, there was another topic to go over. What have you been keeping away from me? The two parents paused, knowing that this question would come sooner or later. Minato believed that they had to tell him what was going on. The following statement came as a shock, as they told Naruto that there was a good chance that he might be overwhelmed by this nature energy that was coursing around him. His body seemed to be producing a similar energy that would turn him into stone. And they had no idea if it would or when it would. They were trying to find out everything they could before informing him. Now that that was on the open, Naruto could feel the emotions from his parents fully. They've been doing a good job trying to suppress said emotions around him. As Menma wanted to find a way. There has to be a way. This can't be happening. However, neither of them were going to give up. And at the moment, Jiraiya was trying to find a solution. So despite how bleak the statement was, they will find a way. They have to. Time skip. Thinking about the fact that you might die one day, and there was perhaps nothing that you can do about it, should be really bothersome for someone, but he didn't feel that. Because Naruto knew deep down that everything was going to be okay. He did not know how he knew this. He did not know why. But he knew that everything was going to be fine. He knew that he would be fine no matter what. The more time passed, the more he learned about himself. The trees, the animal, the environment. They don't just speak to him. They resonate with him. It was like he was they and they were he. It was hard to explain, but at the same time for him it was easy to explain. So he did not feel any of that fear that comes with knowing that you might drop dead one day. Because he knew deep down that he would be okay. And thus, months flew by. Menma had no other problem with the symbol in his hand. They tried their best to learn and understand it, but other than believing that it was a curse mark and knowing that the evil containment sealing wave was able to suppress it, there was nothing else that they knew. Nothing at all. As they found themselves at a loss. However, Menma was doing fine. Naruto was learning how to better control himself. When he lost himself in anger, he needed to learn before he hurt the people around him, because that wasn't something that he ever desired to do. As he found himself training harder, Naruto debate on informing Sadara about this, who was just as close to him as family. However, his willingness to protect people, even when that problem concerned him, was too strong. So he made Menma promise him not to say anything about it, as he didn't want her to worry. Having overcome the initial shock of Naruto having a hole blown through his chest, things seemed to be getting better. Yes, things were getting better. As a few months flew by, they found themselves facing another big challenge. The tuning exams. That was for the others. Due to him being on a solo team, Naruto could not participate within the exams, not having a team to do so. However, his exam was different, as Yamato gave Naruto his first solo mission. Yamato would be there, but his actions would not be seen. He would not be stepping in. This mission was Naruto's 100%. Everything was up to him. Life and death for those around him. The stakes were all in his hand. It was a bit above the normal. After all, Naruto had shown talents that far surpassed Genin an extremely long time ago. Therefore, the mission was much more high priority. And with that, he partake in his first solo mission. While that was going on, Team 7 and several other teams were signed up for the tuning exams, as they need to prove themselves in different ways. The first exam was a written test, which wasn't hard. The second exam was the Forest of Death. Team 7 found themselves going up against other teams, a team from the grass and a team from the rain. However, due to the combined might of each members, they were able to overcome all obstacle that was placed in their path. There was no problem as they ventured through, making their way. Each member had grown significantly in strength. Without this power that was within the diamond, Menma was still stronger than ever. His training was kicking up a notch, He found himself getting stronger and a lot faster as well. Thus, they passed through. However, the third part was a preliminary exams. Due to the numbers that were there, they found themselves fighting friends and foe. As there was a team from the sand that posed a great threat. A boy known as Gara. Red hair, monstrous power. There was also several teams from Konoha that were participating. So they found themselves clashing against one another. Due to the recent witness of what exactly the ninja world was, someone like Sakura Haruno had changed significantly. She went toe-to-toe with Ino Yamanaka, and despite Ino hailing from a clan, Sakura dominated her, coming out on top. As for Sadara, she went up against a member of Team Kabuto. He did not stand a chance. Her skills were too advanced and precise for him to keep up with. And then you had Menma. He faced Kiba Inuzaka, someone that was within the academy with them. Kiba was a bit too arrogant for his own good, due to Menma being one of the top fighters. He was dominated along with Akamaru. With that, they were given 1 month. 1 month to train and 1 month to prepare for the finals to come. While that was taking place, Naruto was still outside of the village, performing his first solo mission. His mission went well. Well, there was a lot of trial and tribulations that Naruto had to overcome when it came to knowing that he could not save everyone, as there was a bunch of people that were taken due to these emotionless monsters that believe they could hold innocent life to take Naruto down. However, they soon found themselves surrounded by the entire world. As crazy as that sound, it bent to his will, twist to his imagination. He became the god in that moment, surrounding them, trapping them. However, life were taken, innocent life, which made Naruto realize that he simply could not be everywhere. At the same time, something that Yamato talked him through afterwards. However, Yamato saw it. So without a doubt, his recommendation for promotion for Naruto immediately went to Minato Namikaze. Having already seen the challenge of a Chunin far surpassed by his son, Minato had no doubt in his mind to promote Naruto. So far, everything has been going good for the other part. There has been no incident. Naruto hasn't lost his cool. He hasn't changed. So at least that was good. For the month, Jiraiya returned back to the village, having not received any answers. Naruto did not require any help though. However, Menma did require some help. His father was busy with what was taking place. His mother was a big help as well. But Menma did not take the Fuinjutsu. Naruto did focus a bit on the art, but not Menma that much. His gaze was something much more, and Jiraiya was able to provide an insight to help him with that. Thus his training continued, with Naruto being there. His promotion was celebrated by them all. Menma placed a fist on Naruto's jacket and told him that he would not be too far behind, and that was a promise, and Naruto did not doubt it. When the day finally arrived, Naruto, having no mission, found himself seated within the crowd. His mother was there as well. The place was packed and filled with all sorts of people. His father was up there. The Kazekage who just arrived was up there as well. As Naruto seated there, something felt off though. Seeing the look on his face, Kushina questioned what was wrong. He told her the strange feeling that he was getting. She believed that it was just a testament of showmanship and those who didn't want to be defeated. But it felt different to Naruto, like there was something else at play here. Something that he was not seeing clearly. Something was definitely going on. However, something was wrong. Naruto turned to the person next to him, and he felt like there was nothing there. Like his senses were being Blocked. What the hell was going on? What was this feeling, he thought to himself? He was alerted by the noise that started down below. The proctor of the exams, concerned about his own mental understanding of people's emotion. But in this moment he could not feel the emotion around him that much, which was odd due to how powerful his senses has become. It was almost like he was being blocked from doing so. But why? And how? Or who? His thoughts were interrupted though when the match down there took place. The first match was Sadara versus Temari. A battle of two extremely powerful kunoichi. As they faced one another, Naruto gazed over as he saw the Uchiha family. Mikoto saw him as he smiled at her. She smiled back. Itachi was also there as well. Their father was also there, along with a few other Uchihas. As Naruto observed the scene down below, the match began with both girls trying to use speed to their advantage. Temari was staying her distance, using her fan, using the defense, using her speed to make sure that Sadara does not catch her. However, Sadara's speed was greater, not to mention the fan was added weight. But even then, Temari had become so efficient with that fan. It was truly amazing. But Sadara was stronger though, and that was clear from the start. Things got more hectic when she activated her Sharingan, now spouting two totem in both. She sped across the field, evading all the strikes, dodging the wing technique in precise time. However, Temari wasn't about to let her come close. She created a gust so massive that even the stand could feel it. It pulled Sadara in, causing devastating damage. Wind blades were slicing her due to the small weasel that Temari had summoned. He had two sickles in his hand that he used for slicing. However, Temari then fell to the ground. She was confused as she felt like she was hit, not quite understanding. When she turned around, she gazed up at the Sharingan. She was shocked. The audience was fully aware of what happened, due to them not being manipulated as well. The moment the match began, Sadara activated her eyes. For a brief second, Temari saw them. However, she cast a genjutsu to mask her eyes activation. She also cast a genjutsu to manipulate the space around her. Fukaku Uchiha had a proud smile on his face. Pulling something like that off without the Sharingan even fully maturing yet was an insane feat. He was proud, but he hid that smile a moment later. However, Mikoto did not hide how happy she was. Itachi seemed to be one big proud brother as well. The match was over as Temari found a kunai at her throat. One move and it was over. It seems like she favored her big brother when it came to illusion and genjutsu. She's amazing, said Naruto. His mother gazed over towards him as she saw the look in his eyes. She was rather surprised at how stupid she had been to not even see that. She looked at her son once again. It is, she thought to herself. Naruto turned when he saw his mother giving him a smile. An unusual smile. What's wrong? Said Naruto. She giggled slightly. Nothing, she said, hiding what she was truly thinking. Naruto not being able to fully sense. However, he could feel that she was happy. Still confused though what was going on with his senses. However, he chalked it up to all the people being around. There was too much of them. Maybe that was the case. He wasn't quite sure. However, the next match was Shikamaru. He was going up against none other than Temari's brother. However, Kankuro gave up. Yes, he gave, which was rather strange. Why come to the end just to give up? Minato noticed that as well. However, he did not voice his opinion rather loudly. The Kazekage made up an excuse. It was his son after all. The next match was... Well, this match was going to be a difficult one for Sakura. Her opponent was Neji. This was going to be a difficult one. She lost. However, her spirit to not give up, to give it her all, impress many. She might not be as strong as Neji right now. However, that defiance to keep on going even when she was outmatched, it impressed a lot of people. How she stood on her grounds despite that she lost. And then it was time. Confidently making his way down there was Menma. His opponent was a San Jinjuliki, Gaara. The match started out with Gaara ultimate defense. However, after witnessing just exactly what he was capable of while he was fighting Rock Lee, Menma had studied everything that he saw, and he was now using that to his advantage. He was able to move around. He was able to get by. However, a surprising turn of events when Menma pulled the scroll and threw it up in the air. A volley of water emerged, so much so that Gaara's sand was soaked, so was he. Menma then outpaced the sand and delivered such a brutal punch, Gaara slammed into the wall. When Menma's fist made contact with Gaara, Naruto felt a strange jolt. Something was wrong. It reminded him of that fist that him and Menma did on the bridge. As he looked down towards his hand, something was wrong. Now that he focused more, Naruto realized that something was indeed blocking him in. Something was not right here. He looked around, trying to locate anything that was nearby, but there wasn't anyone. When his gaze finally fixated on his brother down there, Menma kicked Gaara straight up into the air, appearing behind him and sent him slamming into the ground. He attacked Gaara with a powerful ninjutsu, but Gaara surrounded himself, protecting himself with a dome of sand. Menma stopped as Gaara was inside, protected. He was safe. However, Menma created a clone and sped towards him. Both him and the clone outpaced the sand. The clone then started hit the behind with a powerful ninjutsu, diverting the attention. The real Menma had gone underground. Throughout the chaos that took place, he exploded out of it. In his hand was the Rasengan. It drilled through the sand, tearing through it, as Gaara's sand focused on the bottom to stop it, but it turns out that wasn't the original. Menma was smart enough to make them believe that he had been underground, but the original was there, pretending to be the clone. The Rasengan spawned in his hand. He pumped a lot of chakra to make it larger. Front face, he plunged it, ripping through the body of sand. It slammed into Gaara's stomach. He cried out in pain as he was blasted through, crashing down on the ground. Menma stood there, with a smile on his face. He did it. When suddenly, everything went white. Menma was confused. Where am I? He said, hearing his voice echoing from all over. That is when he heard footsteps. He could not see the person, but he heard footsteps. And they were getting louder and louder and louder. That is when he saw the person that materialized out of nothing into something. Menma paused as he took a step back. He knew it, despite never truly seeing the person's face. In this moment, he knew who it was. That's impossible. You can't, Menma said. I have control. The person stood there, much taller than him. His skin was pale. His clothing consists of a strange yukata with golden edging going down the side, strange megatama markings all over it. He had protrusions coming from his head, like horns going up to the sky. There was a strange golden eye in his forehead. He had the Byakugan in both of his normal eyes. The sheer essence of this man was power. His words were not the same as theirs, but Menma was hearing them in his language. That is what I wanted you to believe. Do you think your mortal seals can hold me? Do you think anything on this planet can bind me? What the hell are you? Said Menma. I am something beyond your understanding, child. However, your body is useful to me, and I will simply take it. No, the hell you won't, said Menma. I won't let you. The man looked at him with clear amusement. You speak like you have a say in the matter. You still underestimate what I am. And that is the reason why you now fall. He said, gripping Menma by the throat. Menma struggled to break free, but there was nothing that he can do. How was this even possible? My plans are far greater than your existence. And now, I shall truly gain what I deserve. He said, as the entire place was enveloped in his aura. In the outside world, as chaos ruled within the village, the moment Gara was struck, the walls started to break, ninjas started to pour in. Chaos was all around them. As the invasion was set in, courtesy of one man that believed that he was destined to bury Konoha, Naruto ignored all of that. He just started to walk. Menma was rooted where he was, simply looking at his hands. Naruto pushed past people as he jumped down, landing. He came to a stop as he looked at his brother. Menma, Naruto said, when Menma suddenly turned and gazed over his shoulders. What Naruto saw surprised him. Moving at speeds that should be impossible, Menma appeared and thrust his arm out. Blood splattered everywhere as Naruto's eyes widened. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you want to see the next person do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. But I'm off now. See you guys soon. Peace.